Hi again, and welcome to Utopia. Today we talk with Professor Jim Steenberg about the greatest snow on Earth and how climate change will affect the future of snowpack and the entire ski industry. Then we'll pack a bag and grab the kids and take a walk down one of the best family day hikes in all of Utah. But first up, do we really have the greatest snow on Earth? It says so on our license plate, so it must be true, right? Well, not so fast. Here's Sean King with more.
Jim Steenberg, avid deep POW skier, acclaimed professor of meteorological science at the University of Utah, and author of the very popular book, Secrets of the Greatest Snow on Earth. Jim has spent years researching and experiencing firsthand Utah powder.
So does Utah have the greatest snow on Earth? Well, there's no definitive answer to that question, but we certainly have some of the very best powder skiing on Earth. And I think the only other region of the world that can maybe has a claim for the greatest snow on Earth would be Hokkaido Island in Japan. So what's some of the bigger misconceptions about Utah snow? I think there's at least two of them. One is that Utah snow is unusually special or unusually dry. I mean, our snow here is a little bit dry, but it's not especially dry. And so I usually use that as one of my bigger myths. The other one is the idea that the deep powder skiing in Utah is good everywhere. Utah's powder reputation is really built on the Cottonwood Canyons. You can get good powder skiing elsewhere, but the frequency of good deep powder days, the frequency of quality powder is much higher in the Cottonwoods than there is elsewhere in the state.
The Wasatch mountain range is located on the western edge of the Rocky Mountains and stretches north to south about 250 miles from Idaho to central Utah. From east to west, the Wasatch Range is some 70 miles wide. One major factor in the creation of the famous dry snow is that Utah is in a transitional snow climate between the wetter, warmer Sierra Nevada and Cascade Ranges to the west and the colder, drier continental climate of Colorado.
So how dry is Utah's snow compared to other states or other parts of the world? Our snow is somewhat dry here. The average water content of Utah snow is about 8.4%. So what that means is if you took the amount of snow and you melted it down into water, it would be about 8.4% as deep as what you had to start with.
It may sound blasphemous for a Utahn to say, but there are other parts of the United States with drier snow. Colorado, parts of interior Wyoming, and the interior of Montana get drier snow, as do some of the snowbelts in the Great Lakes region. However, as Jim explains, it's not necessarily dry snow that creates the apex skiing and snowboard conditions in Utah. It's all about being right side up.
So what is a right side up storm? That's a storm that starts out usually with somewhat higher density snow, so stuff that maybe you can make better snowballs out of, for example. And then the storm over time gets colder and it produces drier, lower water content snow. And in that situation, the snowpack is stacked right for really great powder skiing because you have the driest snow on top and you have this higher density, higher water content snow below it. And that's optimal for ski flotation. It really helps the skis kind of float to the top of the snowpack. That's like the best case scenario for deep powder skiing. It's one of the reasons why Utah is home of the greatest snow on Earth. That's one of the reasons why the powder skiing is so good here. We get lots of right side up snowstorms.
A place like Colorado does occasionally receive right side up storms, but one of the reasons the powder skiing is not as good in Colorado as Utah, at least at the resorts, is that they just don't get a lot of snow. Colorado gets lots of smaller storms compared to Utah. In Berthoud Pass, Colorado, near Winter Park, long-term weather records indicate that the area averages about 4 storms a year that produce 10 inches or more of snow in 24 hours. Alta Resort in Utah averages almost 18 such storms annually. So if you want to ski deep powder, you got a much better chance here in Utah.
Stay Stay tuned, more Utopia coming right up.